latest report on Finland's universal basic income trial says it makes people happier. Freely giving away money to thousands of people with no strings attached is always going to make Finland 2017 basic income experiment a focus of study for socialists, psychologists, politicians, and economists for years to come. Following the experiment's termination in 2018, multiple studies have been more or less consistent in their conclusions. People tend to be happier and more confident, but are not necessarily keen to hit the pavement in search of employment. This latest report, published by the Finnish Ministry of Social Affairs and Health, does not make any challenging new claims, but at a time when the world is in the grip of an unemployment calamity, its conclusions are a timely reminder to reconsider the benefits of economic safety nets. As a quick recap, at the beginning of 2017, Finland's government rolled out a trial run of a guaranteed tax-free income of 560 euros, or that's roughly $590 per month, to 2,000 randomly selected citizens. If those citizens happened to find employment, this bonus income would not budge. So even if everything went to mud, they still have at least a portion of essential bills and expenses covered. The concept of a guaranteed universal basic income, UBI, is not novel, but it has attracted attention in recent years as impressions of the great social divides in wealth and happiness grow dimmer by the year. Proponents suggest that without fear of bedrock level poverty, citizens would take greater employment risks, accept lower paid jobs, and even become more entrepreneurial. Critics, on the other hand, see UBI as a lost incentive to find work at all. Finland's trial ended less than 2 years after it began, and the assessments on its impacts trickled in. This latest exploration, conducted by researchers from the University of Helsinki, involved several sub-projects that looked at the trial's wealth of data from various perspectives, including its impact on well-being, employment, and media coverage. As far as general happiness goes, results from one of the project's self-reported surveys reinforce the general notion that if we all had some kind of universal basic income to rely upon in times of need, our average sense of well-being would improve. We'd be less depressed and probably even think clearer as our cognitive functions improved. Trust in society and social systems would go up, and we'd see our future in a better light. As for whether it would sap our desire to work at all or inspire us to become the next great inventor, the results are just as complex as ever, with those on the UBI working on average just 6 more days out of the 2 years than those in the control group, an effect that was almost evident in the trial's second year. If it's an incentive to take risks in finding work, it's not a huge one, but as usual in these sorts of studies, headline statistics can mask complexities that can show us how to turn a lackluster result into a success, or at least avoid abject failure. Social scientist Helena Bohlberg-Knoll from the University of Helsinki said, some people said the basic income had zero effect on their productivity, as there were still no jobs in the area they were trained for. But others said that with the basic income they were prepared to take low-paying jobs they would otherwise have avoided. Many people reported the income gave them a sense of autonomy, allowing them to return to meaningful activities they might have enjoyed before they needed to grind away at a 9 to 5. Not all work done for the community is counted by way of employment statistics, after all, comprising a measure that might be more important to break down in future studies. More research will certainly be vital to dive into these details on UBI, especially as the world struggles to find new social and employment structures amid a devastating pandemic. Some panned the Finland trial as flawed from the start, based on too few with too little money. Even this latest research identifies a potentially confounding shift in the conditions of unemployment benefits that took place in 2018. Therefore, the positive employment effect in the second year of the experiment was a joint effect in the basic income experiment and the amendments to the unemployment and benefit legislation, the researchers wrote. If advocates are hoping for a gold star report to turn the tide of support in favor of UBI, this report is not it. By the same token, there are glimmers of hope in these findings, indicating that just under half of respondents to the survey on the Finnish attitudes to a UBI being in its favor, with more personal stories being identified in the media, those opinions could be encouraged to change with time. A universal basic income probably would not be the salvation we're looking for in dark times ahead, but if the sum of research so far is anything to go by, countries that adopt one would not regret this. The report was published by the Finnish Ministry of Social Affairs and Health, and this is on Science Alert by Mike McRae. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.